Alright guys, here's part 2 of the IFR flight with commentary from Mike 91 over to Mike 54. So I'm just going to pick up where I left off here. So everything's exactly in the same position as it was in part 1. And I'm just going through flow checks. I'm not really going by a checklist here, though I do like to have the checklist pulled up just in case I need to reference it. So we're going to go ahead and put a flight plan in real quick. So we'll go to flight plan on the 530. We'll highlight. We'll scroll right to enter our departure airport, which will be Mike 91. And we'll do the same thing to enter Mike 54. And now we've drawn a line. Oops, let's clear that. And I go ahead and set up my nav pages where I like them. Every pilot's a little different on how they do this. It's getting a little bit warm in the cockpit here, so I'm going to decrease the cabin heat ever so slightly. Keep the defrost pushed in. I keep the defrost off because if you're going to get into some icing, you're usually going to notice it first on your windshields. So I would like to know that I'm getting some icing if that's happening. Hopefully we don't get into cold enough temperatures to do that. It is a very cloudy day. A lot of storms just come through recently, so look, darn, temperature's plummeting quick. Okay, we'll just keep it there. Obviously you check your fuel before you pull away. And let's just go over here and do a run up real quick. We're pretty much ready to taxi. Well, one thing I haven't really done is, let's see, I need to pull up Navigraph, is I need to look at the weather. I don't use Navigraph a whole lot. I use an app on my phone, so I'm always thrown off by the format of everything. One thing we need is the altimeter setting for this airport right now. So let's go down here, and it's pretty much where it needs to be, just about. There we go, and we'll put it in our standby altimeter. And we'll look at the winds. Visibility is good. It's overcast at 900 feet. So we're IFR. And the winds 330 at 6. So it looks like we'll be taking off runway 4. So here at Springfield you have runway 22 and runway 4. Let's see here. Let's turn the HSI, which runway 4 is actually a magnetic heading of about 038, so we'll stop it right there. And my heading bug, it just depends. Sometimes I just set it to the runway heading, other times I set it to my direct track from Springfield to Mike 91 or Lebanon would be a heading of 129 degrees. So I can turn it over here if I don't plan to engage the autopilot too quickly. Usually what I do is I just engage the flight director and put it in heading mode and vertical speed mode so I can climb to the pre-selected altitude, and I just hand fly it via the flight director and get it all trimmed out, get everything where I want it, and then I engage the autopilot. Betty, that's her name by the way if you didn't know that. Autopilot in all the aircraft I fly have a name, and the name is Betty, so we'll engage Betty and let her do the flying. And then, you know, I usually set up my radios before I start to taxi. Obviously, at an uncontrolled airport, you need to be communicating with people. By the way, if you didn't know, Springfield is an uncontrolled airport. No tower. I know the Nashville or the departure frequency for this airport would be 1935, so we'll put that in.
1294, turn left, heading
Get some ATC chatter. Go down here and put Nashville's VOR in, which is 1410. And as a secondary, we can put Clarksville's in. But I don't remember what Clarksville's is, so there it is. We'll just punch it in right there. Now 1060 is over here. And usually whatever I put in here, I pretty much do down here as well. 1410. And then 1060. That's good. It's a nice, comfortable 70 degrees in here now. So we're ready to taxi. I think, let's check one more thing, the function of the flaps. So there's flaps approach, take off, and there's full flaps.
Okay, we'll go back down to 3000, row 1.
And indicated, down and indicated. We'll bring them back up, make sure they come all the way back up, and we'll put them at flaps approach, the first setting, which will also be for departure, and above 80 knots we will retract that flap, and it's indicating. Okay, we'll get some nav lights on here. It's kind of dark, we could have turned them on earlier, and we'll get the taxi lights on. Take the parking brake off. You know what I haven't done? That ATC chatter might be kind of loud, so we'll turn it down a little bit. Alright, we're going to pull forward here just a little bit, and we're going to check our brakes. Brakes are working. And we're going to check our turn coordinator. So we'll taxi towards the right. Turn coordinator seems to be functioning properly. The inclinometer ball is moving. Compass is moving. Heading indicator is moving. Oh, and I'm going the wrong darn way. Turn, baby, turn.
Big 4591 approach, altimeter 2999, runway 1.
Runway 1, 4591.
Well, that's an outtake. Taxi to the wrong runway here. So here at the ramp, I have flown out of Springfield a lot over the years. I don't remember what's the November 367 Hotel Papa. So usually my call would be Springfield traffic, Beach Bonanza, November 367 Hotel Papa is at the ramp, taxi runway 4, Springfield traffic. And that'd be it. Which I'm not going to be making radio calls, that's just explaining what I would have done.
Approach TBM 700 Victor Mike 280 off the 8000.
TBM 700 Victor Mike.
So according to the weather, at about 900 feet above the ground, we should enter the clouds. So I'm expecting that, and we will basically go heads down in the cockpit, and all of our flying, whether we're hand flying or the autopilot's doing it. Occasionally I will hand fly an IFR route. I'll utilize the flight director if I have one, and sometimes I won't, just to make it even more of a challenge. But I do have a flight yoke and a throttle controls for all this, so that makes things far more convenient.
Approach 700 Victor Mike.
700 Victor Mike, go ahead.
Go ahead, 700 Victor Mike. Go ahead, man. What you got? All right. Approaching the end of runway 4 here.
Off your right.
We will hold short of the hold short lines.
They're parallel on your course. We're going to pass by them.
Okay. It's pretty close.
Get the taxi light off. We'll make sure we don't have any strobe lights on or any anti-collision lights on or anything like that setting down here. Just the nav lights and beacon light. And we'll go ahead and set a parking brake. And this is not going to be a really quick run-up because I'm trying to explain what I'm doing. That's what's been asked of me. So, first thing we're going to do is we're just going to start with the engine run-up. So we'll go mixture full rich. And we're going to bring the RPMs up to about 1,700, the engine RPMs. Get it somewhere close. And we're going to check our magnetos. First, we'll go 2 clicks to the left. That'll be the right magneto. So 1, 2. We'll watch for an RPM drop. Go back to, and that's within range, so we'll go back to both magnetos. And we're going to go back, let that recover. Let the RPMs recover first, then we'll go back to the left magneto. 1 click to the left. And we see less than 150 RPM drop, and there's no more than 50 RPM difference between the left mag and the right mag. So we'll go back to both, and we'll let the engine recover on both magnetos. And with the RPMs, usually sometimes you have to bring the RPMs up a little bit higher. While you're doing this, in this aircraft, you're going to want to watch this cylinder head temperature, because it can rise up on you pretty quick. You're going to cycle the propeller control right here, and you're going to pull it all the way back, and you're going to do it pretty quick, and you're looking for about a 300 RPM drop. And here we go. 300, back up. Let it recover. Pull it back, back up. At least a 300 RPM drop. And that's pretty much it. I'm going to pull the power back just a little bit here, just so I can talk without overheating the engine while we're setting here. So what's the purpose in doing that with the prop? It's not necessarily to check the function of the constant speed propeller blade. We already know that's working simply by increasing the throttle and the RPMs changing like they are. We know it's working. What that's doing is that is actually pumping oil up into the propeller hub that controls, regulates the pitch on the propeller. I don't want to get too technical on that. You'll need to look that up if you're looking for specifics on how that works exactly. And I swear I'm going to get lost in what I'm doing here because I'm talking about so much of this stuff. Okay, so we've done that. You know, going back up to 1,700. Normally I would have stayed there, but just for the sake of talking about it, I pulled the RPMs back. And here's where you would do the load check again. So we're on the main alternator, or the primary, and I'm going to check the load. So what am I going to do? First, I'm going to check the load by turning the pitot heat on, and I'm going to watch that load deflection, the alternator load deflection. So that tells me it's working. I'm also going to turn the prop heat on. You see another load, and you see the prop amps. So you're checking that. You can turn any of the blowers on to check this. I like to actually temporarily flip on the landing and taxi light and the strobe lights really quick, just to see that all of these things are creating an additional load. Sorry guys, my phone is ringing. Let's turn that back off. You know what? That was actually my wife. Let me lower the RPMs here. I'm going to have to call her. Sorry guys. Check out part 3. Sorry for the interruption.
About 4 miles northeastbound is a